All right, give you an update on the Poreba TR-135, I think it was. We ground the X-axis, the flats, as well as the dove. We ground the top of it for clearance rails because it was all scored up. We had to take the material off the bottom of the X-axis slide. There was Mogulice on it before. We were debating on using Mogulice or not. We ended up not going with Mogulice on here. We had to put 125 thousandths Turcite on it, and I believe we ground it like 15 thousandths, I want to say. Somewhere in the neighborhood, it could have been less to get the flats right. So then that way I'm somewhat zero. You can kind of see on the one side, it sort of lines up here now. So it's like almost where it used to be, or where it needs to be. Because you got to think about anything that I take off of here and off the dovetail, I'm going down, and I'm also going to the left because of the master's over here, which would be in the front where the headstock is. The other thing is too is for how much material we had to take off the master and how much material was previously taken off the master. Matt, if you want to come over here, show them. This is how much Turcite I had to put to center it to that screw in the center. So then that way we're up, and then also we had to kick it over even more just so our centerline for where this thing bolts up is true in the center. You can see here, like, because this is a, it's got a taper attachment, they have different sleeves in here that bolt up in here, and that's why this cutout is like this in the back. Well, what we do to cheat is we just take a bushing, go from the OD, or we mic up the ID of where the bore is, make a sleeve OD ID for here, and that's how we make sure that this is centered to here in order to make sure that the screw is centered to where it should be in order for the Turcite to make sure it's centered to the screw. So that's how we go about doing that. I believe we went a couple thousandths thicker. I don't know exactly, maybe 5 or 8 thousandths. And we'll scrape everything else true. So we're back on centerline. And then after this, we'll be fitting Turcite on the gib and then refitting the gib. Once this is completed, we're going to go back over to your facility because we have to refit the Mogulice that goes on the bottom of the V's. So like I said before, we're going to go out there, we're going to put these pads, 4 corners, or I'm sorry, we're going to put 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside on each side, and we're going to scrape that in using the Mogulice. We'll set this slide on there, come back the following day, pop it off, we'll clean it up, we'll bring everything back to our shop and put it all back together so when you go out by you, all you have to do is set it, bolt the binders on, and that's it. The other thing I forgot to tell you, because no one puts oil in this machine, I did you guys a favor. So originally, the oil lubrication, I'm sorry, let me scoot back over again. Originally how it works is lubrication comes from this little port inside here. That's why it's all nasty. Goes up through the machine, comes in this piping over. I'm not sure which one it is. It's one of this one or this one. And that's what feeds all the lubrication for your machine. Well, what we did is we went to Lube USA. We capped that. We don't want that anymore. And sorry, Matt. And we piped it out here. So what we're doing is we're going to put this lubrication tank. There's a bracket on your machine, and you know about it more than I do, that fits right here, sits up about this high, and I believe your DRO goes there. You already have 110 that goes up to the apron, so we're going to run a flexible lubrication line that goes from here to the pump. So then that way, if the pump is low, you'll physically be able to see it, and that way you can make sure that all the lubrication is being done externally so you can see what's going on. I believe we should do this to all machines because of everybody forgets to do it. Or in your case, you have the coolant problem where it floods the apron and you're just soaking everything with water. But just want to get you know, this is where we're at with the machine. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm on target to get this done by Friday, but I got to see when the guys will be out there to go out there and install it and everything else. The one thing I forgot to mention, and someone else reminded me, is that we are kind of temperature selected on that Mogulice. We don't like applying it when it's like 90, 95 degrees, or it sets up too fast. So we got to keep that in mind. So we're going to look at the weather too to make sure it's optimal for both you and us. So, but expect a phone call probably this Friday. Thank you.